Subscribe to the channel, new stories every day. Let's begin. My name is James Porter. I'm 38 years old and work in software development at a mid-sized tech company in Seattle. Until 6 months ago, I believed I was in a secure, loving marriage. 12 years of companionship, laughter, shared dreams. Or so I thought. That illusion shattered when I uncovered my wife's secret. She wasn't just planning to leave me for another man. She was siphoning money from our shared accounts to build a brand new life. A life in Miami. A life I was never meant to be part of. But let me take you back to where it all began. It was a rainy Tuesday night in October. The kind of night Seattle wears like a second skin, gray skies, gusty winds beating against the windows. I was curled up on the couch, the blue glow of my laptop lighting the room as I scrolled through lines of code. My wife, Diana, was supposed to be away on a business trip, not due back until the following afternoon. Then, around midnight, I heard the sound of a car in our driveway. Curious, I got up and peered through the curtains. A rideshare had just pulled in. I watched as Diana stepped out, suitcase in hand, her face glowing in the soft light of her phone. She was laughing at something on the screen, seemingly radiant, too radiant. When I opened the door, I forced a smile. "Diana, you're back early." She laughed lightly, wheeling her suitcase past me. "Yeah, last meeting got canceled, so I grabbed an earlier flight." Her phone buzzed again. She typed something quickly, her face illuminated by whatever message she'd just received, an unmistakable sparkle in her eyes. She seemed more than just content. She seemed exhilarated. I'd seen her return from dozens of business trips, always tired, always drained. This was different. "You're in a great mood," I said, studying her. "Things are going well at work," she answered with practiced ease, brushing past me toward the bedroom. "I'm grabbing a quick shower. I smell like stale airplane air." Not 5 minutes later, I heard a surprised gasp followed by the rustle of hurried movement from the bedroom. I walked closer and found her crouched near her open suitcase, frantically trying to shove something into a drawer. "Everything okay?" I asked. She looked up, startled, eyes a bit too wide. "Yeah, just some paperwork I didn't want to wrinkle," she replied, forcing a smile that didn't reach her eyes. I nodded and backed away, leaving her to shower, but unease had settled like a stone in my stomach. After 12 years together, I knew her tells. And that one, flustered, evasive, was flashing like a warning sign. The next morning, Diana left early for what she claimed was a client meeting. Once the house was quiet, I hesitated only a moment before I opened that same drawer. My heart pounded with guilt, but my instincts screamed louder. Under a stack of sweaters, I found a black velvet box, sleek, elegant. Too large for typical jewelry. Inside was a silver bracelet, engraved with the words, "Forever starts now," followed by the initials C and D. My mind raced. C. I didn't know anyone with that initial. Beneath the box was a folded piece of hotel stationery, scribbled with a message that hit me like a punch to the gut. "Last night was incredible. Can't wait for Miami next month. Just us. 3 days." My breath caught. This wasn't just a fling. It was a carefully planned escape. A secret trip. A new chapter of her life unfolding behind my back. Shaken, I went through her iPad. Normally I respected her privacy, but all trust had been torched. Her iCloud messages had synced. I scrolled, and there he was, Connor. The texts were intimate, emotional, explicit. Photos, emojis, declarations. The last message from him read, "He hasn't suspected a thing." Her reply? "No clue. He doesn't notice anything. Meeting soon. Love you." I felt physically ill. 12 years, and she thought I was that blind. I took screenshots of everything. I knew if I confronted her then, she'd lie. Spin stories. Deny. I needed more. That night, I lay awake, barely breathing as she slept soundly beside me. Her betrayal echoed in my ears like thunder. The next day, I called a private investigator named Henry. A coworker who'd been through a messy divorce had recommended him. His office was nestled in an old brick building downtown. Henry looked like a noir film detective, graying hair, sharp eyes, calm voice. "So you suspect your wife's having an affair?" he asked after I laid out the details. "I don't just suspect," I said, voice low. "I have proof. But I need more. I need to know everything." He nodded. "Give me her schedule, any details on this man if you have them, and financial info, anything that helps." I handed over a folder stuffed with calendar notes, bank records, and copies of the messages. Henry promised updates within days. I walked out of his office feeling numb, but resolute. 2 days later, he delivered. Photos of Diana and a man entering a boutique hotel in the city. Time-stamped for the same afternoon, she told me she was having lunch with a client. They stayed for hours. When they emerged, they left separately. One of the photos captured them in the elevator, kissing. But it didn't end there. Henry's report revealed a joint account in their names. An email discussing a deposit for a condo in Miami. My wife wasn't just fantasizing. She was building an entirely new life with this man. That night, I called my father. He was furious on my behalf and told me one thing. Don't let her blindside you. See a lawyer. So I did. My friend Lily is a family law attorney. When she saw the evidence, her expression darkened. Start protecting your assets. Immediately. Spouses drain accounts all the time during messy splits. Don't let her walk away with everything. That night, I moved half our savings into a personal account. I didn't want to be sneaky, but I also wasn't going to let her leave me penniless. Strangely, Diana became more affectionate around this time. A kiss on the cheek, questions about my day. Guilt, maybe. Or just another layer of deception. I played along, but I saw through it now. Henry kept digging. He found Connor's full name, Connor Mleed. 37. Divorced 6 months earlier, the same period when Diana's late nights had begun. They'd met at a conference in Denver. Business lunches evolved into weekend escapes. The Miami trip? It was the final step in their plan. The texts confirmed it. The emails did too. One stood out. Diana wrote to him, he's clueless. By the time I'm back from the conference, we'll have the condo locked down. 3 more months, max. 3 months. That's all I was to her now. A waiting game. A financial inconvenience to be managed. Lily urged me to stay quiet just a little longer. Freeze accounts, secure documentation, and prepare everything. Then confront her. Once I had legal ground to stand on. Otherwise, Diana could lie, manipulate, even vanish with the money. So I waited. Played my role. Smiled through the ache. One Saturday, I told her I had to go to the office. Instead, I sat across from Lily finalizing legal paperwork, ready to protect what was mine. That same day, Henry sent me another message. Diana had told Connor she was tying up loose ends. That phrase hit me like a blade. I wasn't a husband to her anymore. I was a loose end. I chose my night carefully. I laid out every piece of evidence, texts, photos, bank statements, legal documents. And I waited, heart pounding, for the moment I'd finally look her in the eyes and say, I know everything. The day the condo's mortgage documents hit my inbox, sent to Diana's iCloud, automatically syncing to her iPad, I knew I had everything I needed. Her deception was laid bare in digital ink. That afternoon, she walked through the front door wearing a smile so bright it almost looked sincere. She was humming to herself, casually suggesting we have a romantic dinner that evening. I forced a polite smile, already imagining how that evening would actually unfold. She poured us each a glass of wine, her tone cheerful. What do you say? Try that new Italian place tonight. I met her eyes and replied calmly, I'd rather stay in. We need to talk. Just for a second, I caught it, the flicker of tension in her eyes. Barely there, but unmistakable. She tried to mask it with a smile, but the mask was slipping. Talk about what? Without answering, I led her to the kitchen table. Waiting there, arranged with methodical precision, was every piece of evidence I'd gathered. Printed emails. Photographs of her and Connor entering a hotel. Screenshots of messages and bank statements. A copy of the joint account she'd opened with him. And the most damning of all, a pre-approval letter for a condo mortgage in Miami. Her dream life in Florida was already under construction. Diana froze. Her eyes swept over the documents, widening with each one. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. This is everything, I said, my voice low, controlled, barely masking the fury beneath. You. Connor. The money you moved. The property you planned to buy together. You were going to throw 12 years away and start over without me, without even telling me. She sank into the chair like her legs couldn't hold her anymore. Tears welled up. Her voice cracked. I can explain. Explain what exactly? I snapped. That you've been planning your exit while pretending we still had a future? That you were funneling money into a new life with him while smiling at me every morning. I didn't mean for it to happen like this, she whispered, tears spilling freely now. Oh, how thoughtful, I said bitterly. So how did you plan on telling me? Or were you just going to disappear one day, leave behind a half-empty house and a drained account? She tried to form a defense, stammering something about how Connor gave her something I never could. That line, it cut like a blade. The same woman who had written him in giddy messages that I was clueless, that I'd never notice, now sat before me playing the victim. "We're done here," I said, steady and cold. "I've already moved half our savings. I've hired a lawyer. And I want you out of this house tonight." She blinked, startled. "Brian, wait, we can." "It's James," I corrected her sharply, using my real name to drive home the point. "Don't pretend you're confused. Don't pretend you care. This wasn't a mistake. It was a plan. And I just ended it." I handed her a printed hotel reservation. She cried as she gathered a few things into a bag. At the door, she looked back once. "I'm sorry," she said softly. But the slam of the door behind her felt louder than any apology. I collapsed to the floor, laughing and crying at once, relief and heartbreak swirling inside me. The next morning, Lily helped me file for divorce. We listed the grounds clearly: infidelity and financial misconduct. Henry's investigation had been airtight, and with the trail of messages, receipts, and hidden transfers, the case was unshakable. Diana tried to reach me, texting apologies one moment, lashing out the next, but I refused to engage. All communication went through Lily. As for Connor, according to Henry, the moment the money dried up and the dream condo slipped out of reach, he began backing away. Their fantasy crumbled. I heard from mutual acquaintances that Diana had a full-scale meltdown. But by then, I was done caring. In court, the judge saw through her performance. With the overwhelming evidence of her deceit, the settlement was swift and heavily in my favor. I kept the house, most of the assets, and my dignity. She walked away with a fraction of what she had likely expected, and the stain of her actions clinging to her reputation. She didn't move to Miami. Ironically, she ended up in a small apartment in Chicago. Alone. We had no children, which spared us the bitter custody battles so many others face. That, at least, was a small mercy. After the dust settled, I expected to feel anger. Maybe even bitterness. But instead, I felt something far simpler: peace. As if a heavy, unseen weight had finally lifted. I realized I wasn't mourning the end of a marriage. I was finally free from someone who had turned our life together into a slow, calculated escape plan. Her betrayal wasn't just romantic, it was strategic. Cold. Ruthless. And yet, somehow, I was the one who came out whole. My father called me the day after the court finalized our divorce. His words stayed with me. "Son, you got out. That's what matters." Since then, I've rebuilt. I took on new responsibilities at work. Started an open-source project I'd always dreamed of launching. I even joined a local hiking group. Something I used to put off when I had to explain my schedule to a spouse who never really listened. And in that new rhythm, one of honesty, solitude, and clarity, I found peace. Diana's betrayal was brutal. Her return from that business trip, the secret messages, the lingerie I never saw, the bracelet engraved with another man's initial, the condo she planned to share with someone else. It all felt like a movie script. Except I wasn't the hero. I was the fool she thought she could outplay. But she never saw my quiet strategy. She never saw me documenting, preparing, waiting for the right moment. Two can play that game. And I played it better. In the end, I wasn't abandoned. I was released. 6 months later, I'm single. Still healing. But I have something more important than a relationship. I have my dignity. My future. And the knowledge that no matter how well someone can lie, there's power in quiet awareness, and in walking away on your own terms. We may never truly know another person's heart, but we can learn to protect our own.